Welcome to Sex, Love, and Lies, our second show.
All right.
Your hosts, me, Candace, and Rose. And today we have Sean and Steven.
Hey. Cheers.
And today we're talking about porn and how it affects the relationship and different perspectives from men and women. So let's get started.
Well, this is my first show. Is this the type of subject matter we can expect every week from?
Yes, it's. I know this is controversial, and it's very, it's a sensitive topic, and we're not asking for anyone to share their personal experiences. We're just discussing, different perspectives because, so many people, they're against it. Some people are all for it, and we're just having an open discussion about it. And it's great that Rose is here. I'm so glad you joined, Steven.
Yeah, I was gonna get beat. I mean, think about it, Steve. I'm one guy with sandwiched between two girls. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be fun.
Oh, come on, Sean, you love it.
Oh, I would have loved it, but yeah, we need at least one more guy in here with a male point of view. Come on now.
Great. Okay. Do you know of a man called Jason Joseph is going to come along shortly? Do you have him on your?
I do. Did you? Are you able? I don't know if you're. Are you able to invite him? I don't know if you're able.
Yeah, I can. I can give him a link. Can you put because I'm on two computers. I'm chatting to him on that computer. Could you please give me the link of this into my chat box that you've opened for me on the side chat?
I think I have to invite him. I think I do. I'm doing that right now. Jason, you said? Okay, I just invited him.
You're hilarious, Candace. You have Jason Joseph on the program?
Well, Rose just said to invite him. I talked to him. I know Jason Joseph. He's cool.
I've met him maybe once or twice.
Nice. Yeah, so it would be very interesting to get his perspective as well.
Yeah.
Now, coming from my perspective on this, I don't think I've ever watched like a full porn from beginning to end.
Wow.
I'm not into it. Honestly, I've made porn, but I just won't watch it. And I have nothing against it. If my husband wants to watch it, if he wants to go to a strip club, I have no problem with that. But it's not for me. Like I was reading an article, and women like pictures that are real. They want to imagine things that are real to them. And that, things like that turn me on, as opposed to like, things that are fantasy.
Right.
And I think that becomes a problem with women.
Well, that's what I've always heard is, males are more image-oriented when women are more, imaginary, thought-oriented.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Like, I want to, imagine something that actually happened as opposed to something that didn't happen.
It's not as much of a fantasy world as it is for a lot of guys.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Fantasy porn is more appropriate for women than it is the hard stuff. Like men will watch other people bump and grind up against each other, whereas women don't find that as appealing, probably because it's not as sensitive and it's not as how do you say, sensory, like the imagine of the touch and the feel of another person. A woman can imagine that more than a man can. A man is more action, where a woman is more imagination.
Right. Yeah, that's what every girl, most every girl are
more in tune than men on certain things.
Well, not all men are the same. Some men are willing to bend over backwards to please their female or their counterpart, be it male or female, to get them interested. And kudos to the partner that says, look, okay, I really don't like it, but I'm willing to sit there and watch it with you and perhaps enjoy a little bit of it with you, but not to the full extent that you will. So it's all, even with pornography, there's a give and take. Not the actual performing of the pornography, but the enjoyment of it. As you said, women enjoy different things to men, and pornography has always catered for one specific market many years. Now that women are more liberated, pornography is being catered for women as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get all the storylines, the fantasies, the incredible, the things that would never happen in real life, but they do on film, in a porn.
Romance novels, books, things like that.
And all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it's almost like a fairy tale.
Right. That's what I've always heard.
But catering to women, there's a bigger market out there if they cater to women, not just to the men. But women's tastes are also changing. There's bondage porn. There's what other porn is there? There's all sorts of porn that's available.
It's
Gay
unreal.
porn,
Yeah.
straight porn, lesbian porn. They make it all. It's available everywhere at the moment. Well, has been for a few years, but online specifically. And whether it changes the relationship, look, it can go one or two ways. Either the partner is disgusted by it and they're like, oh, just he's watching porn again. He's going to be oversexed and I really am too tired to do right.
Is such a thing? I've never heard of such a thing, oversexed.
Really?
No, I've never been that way.
No.
I'll just say it. I've never been oversexed.
No, I know. Like
I'm not
it's
bragging,
too much
I'm just saying.
stimulation. It's like
Yeah.
if a man is watching porn, he gets all stimulated. He gets all excited.
Mhm.
He starts looking across the room and thinking, yeah, I'm going to get me some tonight. Whereas she's thinking, oh, I've got to finish ironing those shirts. I have to wipe the benches. I have to put that another load of laundry in. I can do that before 9 o'clock. I still have time to have maybe a cup of tea or a drink, relax, maybe get on the internet, chat with some friends before I go to bed and cuddle up with my husband or whatever. That's what she's thinking. He, on the other hand, has been watching porn for the last, I don't know, only takes 10 minutes, 10 to 15, 20 minutes, whatever. And he's all like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I want to go now. I'm ready for it. Whereas it's not that there is a problem with the intimacy or the sex of this partnership, this partnership that I'm speaking of, but there is an overstimulation on one part and not the other. The other's been busy doing household chores or whatever. He sat down for 20 minutes and flicked through some porn site and gone, yeah, I'm all revved up. He's saying hello to his little, head down south and thinking, yeah, it's time for a good time, party. And she's not into it. That's the bad part of it. The great part of it is, the better scenario is that he is watching porn. He says to her, I'm going to watch a bit of porn. Would you like to come and sit down with me? She can either go two ways. She can say, yeah, I've got a few minutes. Or she can say, look, you know what? How about later? We'll do it later together. He should say, okay, we'll do it later when the kids are down or when you've done what you have to do and we're relaxing back here. We'll get a glass of wine and we'll watch it together. 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. And your choice. That's what he should say to her. Because when he says that to her, it means he's inviting her into his little porn world. And she is trying to be into it, if she's not. And he's inviting her to sit down and share. Porn is no good unless it's shared. I mean, a man can sit down or a woman can sit down and watch porn on their own. And they can masturbate over it or they can have their own little fantasies over it and they can enjoy their own little world. When it comes to relationships, porn should be enjoyed with your partner. If it's going to interfere with your relationship, then some changes need to be made. And I don't think that's difficult to do. I think you just need to talk to each other.
I also think that it becomes a problem because women, some women are insecure about themselves, and when the porn is not shared between the two, the woman can start feeling insecure, and her husband or boyfriend or partner is watching this girl and getting turned on by her, and she herself may start to feel insecure about not only herself but the relationship. And when it's not shared, then it becomes a problem.
I
Yeah.
do think that security comes with age and knowledge and life. If a woman feels insecure and her partner doesn't address that, then he needs to be able to talk to her about it. She needs to be able to talk to him. Pornography should be shared as a couple. If he's looking at all these women and getting all excited, and he turns to his wife or his partner or his girlfriend and looks at her with the same eyes, then it's not the girl he's imagining, it's his partner he's imagining. But I understand where this is. I understand where this can go and come from, because a woman sees her husband or partner or boyfriend watching pornography and looking at all these lithe women rolling around, performing the most acrobatic of acts, and they're absolutely no competition for what's sitting next to him in the chair, and she's like, oh my God, how on earth can I look that thin? How on earth can I have boobs that big, or an arse that small, or legs that shapely, or that hourglass figure when I've already had 6 kids and I'm, starting to have grey hair, and so a woman's insecurities are fostered by her own self more so than her husband or boyfriend or partner. He has a chance to walk out on her. A woman has to remember, if he wanted to do that, she'd know the signs already. If he enjoys cuddling up to her at night, hi Jason, by the way, if he enjoys cuddling up to his partner at night, then she needs to remember that. And he's not looking for another woman. He's just enjoying the act of pornography on the
Right.
screen. I see nothing wrong with pornography myself. Sometimes it can be therapeutic and instructional, especially if there are problems in a relationship and they don't know what's going on. A woman
So are you
who
saying
has
it's sort of
no
like
idea.
if there was like a movie, sorry to interrupt, just saying if it was like there was a movie that they both wanted to see and one of them saw it without the other one, that they're not sharing that same shared imagination.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Steve, I didn't get that.
Well, you were talking about the shared imagination part.
Yeah, but men and women view things differently. Women have more imagination. Men are more factual. They like to see more. Unless a man he's more in touch with his feminine side, where he's
Right.
able to visualize and imagine a little bit more.
Right. And I think you said something about a shared imagination, or that
They share
sharing
experience.
pornography should be part of it, because if one person isn't part of it, then they're not sharing in the imagination being the film or the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like what's in your head being the same thing as what you're watching, whether it's a porn or a film or whatever type shared animation. So like if I'm being a little funny, but I'm being serious too. It's like, if there's both a movie that you wanted to see that you would really enjoy, one person went and saw the movie and it was a spectacular, mind-blowing movie, and the other person is like, well, I didn't even get to be there with you during this,
Then he should say, well, you know what? I'll watch it with you again.
Yeah.
Pornography should be an inspiration, and women shouldn't feel threatened by it. I'm not threatened by it. I'm not the lithe size blah blah that I was when I first got married. I've had 3 kids, and my body has weathered and lived. It is something that has breastfed 3 children. It has birthed 3 children.
I don't believe it. Show us.
Jason, I love you.
Prove it.
I think you nailed it. I think a lot of women that don't like porn or opposed to it are threatened by it.
I think you're right.
I really do. I think
That's good.
that's what it is. And they see these women, a lot of them are younger. A lot of women, they have kids and their bodies don't look the same. And they don't have the great attitude like you do, Rose. And, I think that becomes a problem.
I think that comes with self-assurance and being in a secure relationship. I mean, I'm married. I've been married for 20, going on 21 years. So I've only ever had my husband in the last 20 odd years. So I know, I don't exactly know what he's thinking, but I know what he's thinking, and I don't claim to know what he's imagining, but I sort of understand his looks. So, but no, I've been to. I asked him to take me to Spearmint Rhino, which is a dancing club, a girly bar. He took me, great, because you know what? I love pole dancing. I do love it. I admire the women who can do it. So we go. They look after us. They love seeing women in those places. You get a great seat. You get attended to by the bar staff. It's fantastic, and we share that. He enjoyed it on another level. I enjoyed it on my own level, and then we were able to talk about it and discuss it and laugh and enjoy each other's company in one of these bars.
Wow.
It doesn't bother me. I actually admire the women who work in these institutions and all these places, because they bloody well work hard. They work hard, and they dance, and they may take their clothes off, but they get paid for it. It's not as if they're not being paid for it. As far as enjoying porn and the rest of it, I'd like to ask Jason Joseph a question.
Shoot.
Now, you watch porn?
I was late getting here because I was watching porn.
Love it. Okay.
That's
You watch
okay.
porn sometimes with females?
I was just having this discussion. It was ridiculous that you messaged me when you messaged me, because I was talking to someone and we were having this discussion. Yeah, sure. I've known a lot of girls, though, but I've known a lot of girls that were in the entertainment industry, that worked in not in porn, but in clubs, that danced. When I lived in Florida, a good buddy of mine was a DJ in a town that had a plethora of strip clubs, let's just say, and he was a DJ in several of them. So I had the phone numbers to the dressing rooms. I used to hang out with the girls. I used to hang out in the DJ booth with them. So I saw that a whole different side of that life. I dated the owner of the club's daughter, and I think there are a lot of people that are closed-minded to porn, but there are a lot of people that are closed-minded to anything. And I don't think that, like what Candace said before, Rose has got the right attitude. I don't think that's correct. I think that she's got a great attitude about it, and it's great to have an open mind about anything, but I don't necessarily think that it makes it the right, just because we know it's better perhaps to keep an open mind, and there are all sorts of arguments why it's better to have that stance opposed to being closed-minded. We know where that gets you in life. But I don't think that necessarily makes it right or wrong. It just makes it, Rose's opinion. But wait, what was the question?
The question was, and that's okay, because what you've offered is fantastic information.
Yeah.
Do you watch porn? Have you watched porn with women, and what's their reaction? Are they threatened, non-threatened? How do they feel about watching porn? Do some say, "Oh no, I don't want to watch it"?
Some people will watch it and they feel that they have to watch it from the stance that they're critiquing. They're critiquing the performance. They're critiquing
Are those
the
the
budget.
ones in the entertainment business that are critiquing it?
Oh gosh, I couldn't remember offhand. But all I know is that I've experienced both. I've experienced people that'll rip something apart just to have something to rip something apart about. And then other people that it's kind of like, why are we watching this then in the first place? And other people that it's on because it's sexy and because it's fun and because, oh, that's kind of hot, and why don't we do that? And,
Right.
There's also been the let's see if I can win his attention with all this going on. Kind of like I've seen that too in the clubs. Like if you're in the club with someone that you're dating, they'll go there with you, and either A, they're just cool with the fact that you want to hang out because you can hear any kind of music in the strip club at all. You'll hear dance music and rock and roll and classic music and new music, and you'll hear it all on a great sound system usually, which was always one of my favorite things about going. And I used to say, I wish we could find a club that wasn't like this, that played the same kind of music, because it was, I have a eclectic taste, so I dug it for that. So you'll have the girls that'll hang out with you just because it's just another club and they're hanging out. Maybe they have friends dancing, but then you have the other ones that they're hanging out, and it's a challenge to see if they can take your attention away from that. So they kind of like that, because a woman always wants to know that, you know, she's the most beautiful thing in the room. So I don't know. I think it's like anything else.
But what about the reactions to the pornography? Like, do you find generally, I'm not saying that, this is not putting forward that Jason is promiscuous or he has had many lovers.
Oh, I've been. I'm not anymore.
You know that Jason is experienced in life, and he's a great guy that will offer an honest opinion. But in your history or of knowing women and being with women, do you find the majority of women feel threatened by watching porn, or do they feel comfortable watching porn? And if so, they feel comfortable, what sort of porn is it? Like, is it lesbian porn or gay porn?
I think it's a small percentage of people that are threatened by it. I think everyone finds curiosity in it, whether or not they'll admit it or not to your face, or that'll be something they share with you. That's not really it doesn't have to be something that they share. That's a private thing. So I think that it's probably a smaller percentage of people that are offended by it than one would think. It's a lot more wide. And if you don't believe that, leaf through some websites of porn. There's a lot of people making these friggin' porns. Like, where are they all? I'd like to meet them, some of them. Like, there's a lot of really crazy stuff going on, you know? And it's like, it's your neighbors. These are your people. These are the people in your neighborhood, you know?
I exactly agree with you, Jason. No doubt, man.
This is a question for the men. Do you think that porn threatens a stable relationship?
I think anytime you're sharing something and you're coming together and in agreement, or even in the agreement to disagree, and you're relating and you're communicating about something, it strengthens a relationship no matter what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't care if you're figuring out what you're having for dinner or if you're, you know, watching a gangbang.
So I tend to agree with you. I happen to think that it strengthens a relationship because you're sharing something, and it's instructional. Sometimes it is instructional. You know, there are a lot of people around that have not had sex, don't enjoy sex, don't even know what an orgasm is. So, and sometimes the same goes for men. They don't know how to give an orgasm. They don't know what they should be doing. They don't know what pleases a woman and what doesn't, because they're fearful of finally getting a woman and upsetting her. So they watch these porns for instruction. And I have to admit, sometimes these pornos are way off track. It's like, seriously?
Yeah.
Other times, they're terrific.
I've not really been big on like the whole video watching thing on porn. I don't know why. I mean, I went through a stage of it when I was younger. Like, oh yeah, video, that's even better. But I'm more of the kind of guy that, like, I just like to. I'm more of a art. I look at porn like art. Like, I don't know, just enjoying the still pictures. You know, the high quality, high res still pictures. And
some of it is, Sean.
That's what I enjoy. You know, and it's more. I look at it more of an art than I do, you know, the celebration of just looking at women as, you know, not objects, but, you know, just the art form of the shape of a human, you know, a woman, you know, a beautiful woman. I love it. I mean, that's why I guess I'm attracted to it, of course. But then I started looking at porn when I was 10 years old, finding my dad's and my friends' parents, you know, their pornos, you know, or their magazines underneath the beds, and that's what started me at 10 years old. But being 42 now, I'm more attracted just, you know, to the actual porn sites you go to that just click thumbnail, boom, full screen. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, save or not save or go to the next one. You know, it's just, and you know, and I use it as more just kind of a time killer, you know. And but you know, what's weird is, you know, some of the stuff, you know, even some of the pictures can be pretty bad. But then at the same time, I don't know. I don't get into the rough, hardcore porn stuff, but you know, like the guy's fantasy about being with two girls at the same time. You know, that's every guy's fantasy. Probably, I would say, at least in my mind, it's every guy's fantasy. But I've actually done that in real life, and that's where it crosses over, where it's kind of, at first, it's fun and different and neat, like, whoa, I'm getting to finally do this in real life. But then it's like it starts to cause some real problems. And that's happened to everybody, including myself, that I've ever known that, you know, has had that real life fantasy come true thing experience, and it can lead to big time down, you know, bad things in the, you know, with the relationship. But it's just kind of how you want to look at it, really. The way I feel is, you know, it's each and everybody's going to have their own opinions and their own fantasies, their own way of looking at it. But you know, being in the nightclubs and DJing all these years, I mean, I've seen pretty much, I've known a lot, like Jason, I've known a lot of, you know, girls that are in that industry. And I've, like, respected what they do, but at the same time, I don't really agree with a lot of it, because I've seen it ruin a lot of these girls, too. You know, they'll be 18, 19, and they're stripping in a strip club or a dance club or whatever and making all that money, but then by the time they're 30, they got 4 or 5 illegitimate kids, and they're strung out on drugs and everything else, and I've seen it just wreck them. But then other girls can go through it no problem, you know, so it's kind of weird, I guess. I don't know.
What about the live amateur porn sites? Have you seen any of those?
The what is?
Live amateur porn sites?
Oh, live ones? I've never got into that. No, I mean, I have, but I've never ever stayed long enough to really sit and actually watch it, because again, it doesn't appeal to me for some reason. I don't know why.
They're like having a girly bar on your screen.
Yeah, and I don't even get into going, like myself. I've been to obviously I've been to a few, you know, dance strip club type clubs in my life, but I don't get into those either. I've always thought, why would I want to go shove dollar bills down a girl's G-string to watch her take it off in a bar like that? I mean, I just never have. And I've been in club DJs for 20 years, and I've even been approached to go DJ these clubs like Jason was talking about, and I've always turned them down. I can't get into it. I don't know why. It's just, I guess I look at it in a different light. I don't know, because it's not, to me, it's not as artsy as like just looking at still pictures, you know, or magazines like when we were growing up, you know, Playboy, Penthouse, all those, you know. I don't know. I guess it's kind of more of an art form for me, you know. But I've never had any personal problems.
Some of it can be quite beautiful, Sean.
Yeah, it's not, you know, I mean, it's never caused me any troubles in my real relationship, except for the few times where I have, like I said, done it in real life and filled out some of these fantasies, you know, and it's like, whoa, that was fun, but then, you know, like a couple of weeks or a month later, you're like, uh-oh, you know, then...
But is that porn, Sean? Is it porn?
What do you mean, doing it in real life?
No.
What are you talking about? The
pictures?
pictures? Yeah, I believe it's porn. Yeah, it's
Sure. Ask Larry Flint. He'll tell you it's porn.
Yeah, that's raw as porn could be. I mean, that's, you know, Hugh Hefner, you know, that's what Playboy is basically all about.
Yeah, exactly. See, boys at a young age were exposed to porn before their minds could process it.
Right. So, I processed it pretty good.
Well, you know, they find their thoughts, and, you know, they just, one thing leads to another.
You know, I figured out real quick at 11 years old of what it's like to actually blow the thing, if you know what I mean. I thought, whoa, did I break something? Cool. Then it was just no turning back after that. I'm like, damn. So I guess that's
interesting, though, Candace. So you think we're sort of like trained or brainwashed, since, you know, it would be little boys that would be doing that, I'm guessing, more than little girls?
I think he's right, Jason. Yeah, you make a point, Stephen.
I don't know if I would say brainwashing. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's worse now because of the internet. You know, it's everywhere. You know, unless you have, like, parental controls on your internet at home or wherever you go, it's going to be right there. You know, you go to sites and these, you know, pop-ups come up and, you know, boom, you know, there's all these, like, pornographic images.
Well, we're way more sexually open than we ever were.
Yeah.
Because when I grew up, there was Sesame Street,
yeah.
right? And now, now there's I don't know how many TV shows with open references to homosexual relations with girls and guys. So now, when you grow up, you're not just curious about sex. You're curious about...
Right.
Maybe they want to have who I'm having. Yeah, maybe who I'm having sex with everyone.
I see it in ads. I saw an ad recently that was overtly sexually explicit, and it was like for Mountain Dew or something like that.
Well, they know sex sells, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
It's true.
Sex grabs our attention.
10, 20 years ago, today it's like
Oh yeah.
it's not hidden at all. In fact, it's pushed out really hard and meant to get across that
Well, they figured out over the 20 years, Steve, that sex, when they show an ad like Mountain Dew or something like that, or any kind of thing, man, they show a hot chick in a bikini, is drinking some product or driving a car or doing whatever. They know it's going to catch your attention real quick, not really as much as
like
women, but guys.
Little nude pornographic ads. Because I was watching it with the volume on, and I was just watching the image as it was, going across. What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What?
I know. Like, how do they tie that in with the product? Yeah, I know. It is very open. Which.
What do you guys think about now? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jason.
Well, I mentioned Larry Flint. I had him on the mind because I know someone that used to work there. We were talking, had a friend out and visiting in L.A., and I sent her to get together with him while she was there. So I guess he was fresh in the brain. But have you guys heard about what Larry Flint was doing, offering $1 million to oust anybody in a public figure, any politician that's could be tied to a sexual scandal?
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
When was that? Recently? No.
Just recently. He offered $1 million to anybody that can turn over proof of anybody's tawdry affairs. And I think that's great because that's Larry Flint. What he's always done is said, look, we all have sex, and stop being so damn, kind of, let's not all pretend that we don't have sex.
Yeah, right.
I think it's great.
I do too.
I was thinking about this before when you mentioned it. When you mentioned Larry Flint, I thought to myself, there's been pornography around since year dot. Well, not really year dot. Since the first camera was made. And they were able to, you've seen the black and white vintage.
I saw like one of the very first pornos at Music Box Theater in Chicago. They were showing.
What was that dated as?
Oh, it was I think it was the 20s or the teens. I can't remember.
Really?
I think there were I think there's actually some porno pictures.
Yeah.
Prior to the 1900s, I think like 1890s.
Oh yeah. Well, you go back even in Egypt, they did their formal porn,
They did their porn in stone.
Yeah, and in stone. They didn't want to freaking have the shit deleted.
Oh, they did it on tablets, Sean, and they were back to tablets again.
Yeah, right. They had tablets back then. They had iPads of iStone.
It's funny. That's where I get my point now is the tablet.
But since we've had pornography available to people for such a long time, do you think the people that have accepted porn have changed? I mean, I know it's more accessible now, but do you think it has changed relationships in the period of time, like say from the 1900s, in the last century?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think?
Absolutely.
So do you think the straight-laced guy that used to have his little dirty photographs of the woman with her frilly pants and thigh-high stockings and doing the pose with her breasts hanging out?
Yeah.
Do you think he used to share that with his wife? Or he used to just look at it and say, wow, I might just get into
I think that was when for his a long time.
I just don't.
It wasn't acceptable, so they had to hide it.
I mean, you have to think, like, look back in the day, women couldn't even wear a bikini. You know, they had to wear, like, pants and long
Yeah, when, like, what was it?
How could you expect them to be open and showing their wives?
Yeah, what was that song back in the 60s, Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini? I mean, back then, that was huge. Look at the 80s, like, when Jordan Michael came up with I Want Your Sex. I mean, the whole freaking radio industry, like, ban it, stop it, oh, my God. And now you turn on the radio and every other song just blatantly or outright says it,
Well, that's what I was saying.
We become accustomed to it, and that's kind of good. It's great that it's open. But at the same time, you look at some of these young, like what I've noticed is like the younger generation, like these young girls that are in their teens. They think nothing about sleeping with their girlfriends in front of their boyfriends. It's like it's so open now. It's like wow.
Oh, okay. So there's something else. Do you think?
It
pornography has increased promiscuity.
Yes.
Absolutely, but it's
Exactly.
not just pornography. It's how the media depicts sex.
Right.
It's how much
Music.
we've allowed it to be okay at a younger age. Like I was saying, we used to just have Sesame Street. Now you don't have just Sesame Street.
Right.
You have, at a very young age, kids know in grade school, before they're 10 years old, they get the idea of the sex, and there's sex with men and there's sex
I
with
don't
women
think
and there's
we
sex
don't
with
need
both.
we don't need sex ed. We don't need sex ed anymore in high schools or in junior high. I mean, it's
That's the internet.
we don't think these kids know everything
It's not
by the
just the
time they're
internet.
12.
It's
you know,
not at all just the internet.
It's not just the
television.
internet, but it's television and the internet combined. You know, and the music, and it's just
It's the pop stars, you know. They're
Yeah.
going out and they're cheating on their wives and their husbands, and you have these shows that are,
Right.
you know, they're focused on teenage moms. So
Yeah.
then you have, you know, the younger generation that thinks it's okay. Well, hell, these girls are pregnant and they have their own TV show. So they think that, you know, in their minds that it's acceptable. You know, I have
That's
a
what I was-
12-year-old
yeah.
13. And
That's
look
what
at
I was
Britney
thinking.
Spears, you know, when she started, you know, she all is wearing, you know what, she was like 16, and she looks really, you know, provocative. She's dressed,
Yeah.
you know, in this, like, you know, this white shirt, and it's tied so you can see her stomach. And, you know, then, you know, you have girls like my daughter who want to be just like her. And they want to dress provocatively, and, you know, they want to experiment, you know, with their sexual, you know, selves, and that, you know, it's just, I just think that's so young, and
Oh yeah.
It's been a while though. I remember when I was in my 20s and I started noticing 12-year-old girls are dressing up like 21-year-old women. I mean, this is a good 10, 15 years ago.
I agree, Steve. I saw it, noticed it too.
The men think that, you know, they're a lot older because, you know, they're wearing makeup and they're dressing a certain way. So then men, you know, they start to think that they're older than they really are. You know, and I think there's a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
That was that case I was telling you about, the 16-year-old girl that claimed to be raped, and it was thrown out of court.
Oh, I heard about that.
He
I
was
think.
16 with a fake ID, entered an 18.
Not only that, she wasn't able to accurately describe anything that in my apartment at all.
In your apartment. That's a good thing, Jason.
Yeah, but what if she was drugged? Then of course she's not going to remember. What if she was given?
Well, that would be a whole nother court case.
Yeah,
I would think,
this
then.
particular case that actually happened in Australia she wasn't drugged. She was 16, and she wanted to claim rape against this fellow who was over 18. Now, they were going for statutory rape, but as I said in our pre-broadcast, and she entered an 18 and over club, which meant that she legally put herself forward with fake IDs stating that she was 18.
Yeah,
Therefore, that would constitute as consent.
Right. Yeah.
So, if she goes to a club that's 18 and over, she can't claim anything other than being stupid.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've run into that in real life myself in the club business. I mean, just 2 years ago, I mean, we had girls that we constantly, and it's getting worse and worse, that these 18-year-old clubs that I DJ and have DJed for, you know, up until literally 6 months ago, these girls are coming in at 16, 17 with fake IDs, and we can't, you know, we try to screen them out, but you can't. Some of them slip through the cracks, and, you know, sometimes we get busted. And
that'll change with technology. Soon we'll be scanning people's DNA.
Yeah, that's true.
It'll be
but
that
I agree.
simple.
But Rose has got a point, though. I mean, you know, if the girl's going to do it, you know, she's 16, 17, she's willing, knowing she's going to take it up legal bar, how can she, you know, hold somebody else accountable when she's the one that actually put herself in that situation? So I agree with that, you know.
I mean, I'm not sure what that has got to do with our subject today, but...
Well, right. I mean, yeah, we kind of got off track a little bit, but...
Yeah, but is 16
but that's okay. It's probably relative.
It is.
Is 16 considered a child in Australia? Where did it happen in Australia?
I'm not sure. My 19-year-old. It was funny. We were actually discussing this this morning, and I said to him, "Oh, you know, that's interesting. We're having a discussion about pornography today. I wonder if that's going to come up," and it sort of kind of did. The age of consent here is 16.
Okay.
But as I said, a girl of 15 can have sex with no one who is older than 17.
What's that site for cheap airfare?
You meant
Kayak.com?
17, honey.
Uh-huh.
But 16 is the same thing applies until they're legally 18 years of age.
See, that's like
And,
here in Tennessee, in the U.S. in Tennessee. I mean, we got a similar kind of law, sort of. I mean, if you're 18, you can legally date and even have sex with, if the parents consent to it, a 16-year-old girl. But they have to be 16 16 to 18 they find acceptable. But now if an 18-year-old or 19-year-old gets with a 16, then that's a different story.
No, more than 2 years is unacceptable here. I'm not sure
Yeah.
about the rest of the world.
That you'd have to almost be able to turn around and know somebody that's making these things that you don't know about.
Right. A lot of it, I think, I've done the exact same research too, Jason, trying to figure that out. Like, I think a lot of it's, California, obviously, Switzerland, places like that, and even probably where you're at, Rose. I mean, I've heard a lot of from Australia. I've seen a lot of girls from Australia.
Wow.
And of course, Germany, I think, and
I think everywhere.
it's everywhere. But I mean, I'm saying he's asking more where are these girls, like the key.
But it's like crazy things. Like I see parties where it's like a bachelorette party, and everyone in the bachelorette party's naked. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it really does.
Really?
I've actually followed.
I've been to some pretty wild.
Have you followed anybody or some of these girls on Twitter and things? Kind of done a little research. There's some of them in California that are that's all they do for a living. That's their whole life.
It's just amazing.
I've done my research on that too. Following some of these, followed some of these porn star girls that I've met. Not met personally, but just followed them just to kind of research, see what they're really like in real life, and that really is their whole life. I mean, that's how they live.
You talking about bachelor parties or bachelorette parties?
No, I'm talking about girls that are in the mainstream porn industry. Where he's talking about they're walking around a bachelorette party. It looks like a bachelorette party, but it's just an everyday, like a big orgy party, outdoors by the pool in the middle of daylight. Where do these go on?
Well, a lot of these people that make porn here in Australia, they moonlight as performers.
Right.
At bachelor parties. And I've heard a few of these. I know because my husband's told me about them. I haven't actually seen them. But he's told me some pretty amazing stories.
Yeah.
They're being able to shoot out the most obscure objects.
Yep.
At a great distance, aren't you? So all power to those, to those muscles down below. But, could never compete with anything like that ever.
Yeah.
But I think after having gone to one of those, I think the husband comes home and says, I'm so glad you're normal.
I think too, I mean, porn is just, I don't know, at least for me anyway, it's more of a time filler. It's just kind of something that, it'll be sometimes like I'm getting ready to go to work or something, or go somewhere. And I'll, hold on, real quick, 30 minutes in, out, done, and I feel better for the rest of the day. So that kind of goes like what you were saying earlier, bro, is like a therapeutic way. It almost to me, it's like smoking a cigarette. It relaxes me. Sometimes, it'll, and I know a lot of other guys that do the same thing, that they don't like to admit it, but I'll admit it because I don't care. But, I'll do it before I go to work sometimes because I'll know I'll have a good rest of the day. I'll just be relaxed. I'll be more at ease and more laid back. And if I don't, seem like I'm just constantly stressed. So sometimes I think that helps, even if it's not the real thing. It just kind of, at least for some guys. Not all men, no. But
not all men are like porn, no. They don't. Some men feel threatened by it too, because we're just talking about it as from women's perspective.
Right.
Some men also feel threatened by it because of the men that appear to be in these. So, look, when I see them, when I see pornos and all these perfectly sculptured men, I don't compare them to my husband.
No. That you can't do that. That was what I was saying. Like, you got to know where to draw the line. Where the porn stops and where the reality begins, or vice versa. You got.
But the same thing can be said about men, and that women's insecurities in a relationship, especially, are non-founded, because it's not that the men are comparing them to their women.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well,
more like,
most men like me, I mean, most men I've known, and me myself, I'm like, being married for over 12 years now, unfortunately, it doesn't really go with all what I'm saying. I'm getting ready to be divorced, but that's not why, because of the porn. But I always kept myself, I'm not gonna let that, let her even catch. I do that after she's far asleep, or I might just happen to still be up. That's when I'll have my little playtime, I call it, or whatever. And I think most guys.
but why, Sean?
And it's just because
you didn't want to share that part with her?
I did share some of it with her a lot of times, but there's a lot of other times I didn't really want to, because just for the speed of okay, just done and in out. Okay, it's over, and I can get on with my night. Or I can go to sleep, It's a sleep aphrodisiac. I mean, it kind of can make you calm down. So, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just, it's weird.
Sean, you didn't do this, watch it, and then look over and say, yeah.
No, I never really got into the, prepping myself for actual real sex with porn. I never really did that. I mean,
Not that you do. It's just that.
We're men, we prep ourselves for bed with porn.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think there you go, Jason. That's a better way to put it. That's what I was trying to say is basically, sometimes you can prep yourself to just lay down and go to sleep after you've just had a 5 or 10 minute porn session, I call it, whatever. But sometimes I'll share that with my wife or my girlfriend or whatever over the years, but sometimes I won't. But it just kind of, I don't know, take it as it comes, I guess. Literally.
Well, basically, I think that porn is a shared or non-shared.
Mm-hmm.
It can be shared with your partner and it can be great, or it can not be shared and you can enjoy those little sessions on your own. It's up to the individual. But when it starts to create havoc on a relationship, do you think that, I mean, I'm not one for therapy. I do like to talk to the partner or the person in question. Do you think that sex therapy needs to be looked at if porn does become an issue in a relationship?
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, for some people, I've known people that have taken it over the edge, that really have gotten so far that literally interferes with their job. They can't work, or they can't stay with a girlfriend. They can't stay married, because they just have such a porn addiction. They can't function, It's like they become so addicted that becomes theirs. They want to shell up into their freaking little in their computer and just not speak, not live in real world. And that's where I think it. Nymphomaniac, I guess, but it really needs to be added to, something, because it's not really nymphomaniac. Nymphomaniac is somebody that does it too much in real life, but to sit and recluse yourself into a room constantly, just because you don't want to be seen and you have this dirty side to you, that you don't want to get out and let your friends or family know, that's where I think, that's an addiction problem.
We have to wrap up. I'm glad you ended on that, because we're going to talk about sexual addiction next week.
That's cool.
Yes, and how to recognize it, the signs.
I better check in for that one.
I want to check in.
Jason, it'd be lovely to have you.
I'm going to see. I'll see. I can't make any promises, but I know the drummer from Saigon Kick oh my God, Skid Row.
Nice.
And he actually was a sex addict. He was on Dr. Drew's show, and and he has a toy that was just made like a year ago after his thing.
Plaster caster, huh?
I'll see after you get this. Yeah, I'll see after you get this together if I can pass it along to him and see if maybe you can get him to come.
Oh, that would
come
be
and hang out. Maybe.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, are we done? Okay, I hope everyone who's watched on the internet and used the link and has enjoyed the discussion.
Yes, I thank everyone for sharing their stories and their experiences, and thank you to the viewers out there. And I hope to see you next week. Again, thank you. Thank you, Sean, Stephen, and thank you, Jason, for coming by.
Right. Now y'all can go back and click on your porn sites, right?
Have you got a secret link, Sean?
Okay, now you've got me
discussed some good places for porn, like RedTube and
we've got them all stirred up now. They're like, okay, now you got me in the mindset. Now it's time to go hit the sites.
YouPorn, RedTube. Am I missing any?
I'll see you guys next week.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Candace.
Thank you, Candace.
Naked Rose and Jason and Steven.
Thanks for coming, Jason.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
The world's
Thanks,
come to
Steven.
sitting talking about private stuff with all these
awesome.
lovely people.
You.
It's
People
awesome,
around
man. Right on.
For you. It's, now you can go and sleep well. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Have a
Only
great
here.
weekend, guys.
Yeah, you
We're here on
thank
Google
you, Candace.
Goodbye.
Right on.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.